So we have now finally got our first look at the LEGO Star Wars Smart Brick Wave coming in March of this year. And I'm just going to say this right now, this video is going to be very informal and unorganized because over the past couple hours, this whole process of these sets being revealed has been kind of chaotic and very unorganized. But basically, LEGO has held a conference at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and that is where they're showing off these new Smart Brick sets. And from what I've gathered, they've officially shown off 3 sets and they've posted pictures of them online, which is what we're going to mainly be taking a look at today in this video. However, there's also 4 other Smart Brick sets releasing this wave that are being shown off in some form at the convention. However, they're not being posted online, so we just have crappy blurry pictures of them. Again, like I said, this whole thing is very unorganized, but at least we have a look at what these sets are going to look like now, and then I'm pretty sure they're all going to be officially revealed this Friday when they go up for pre-order. But regardless, before we take a look at the sets, LEGO did release an explanation of what the Smart Bricks actually are. I'm going to briefly go over this. If you want to read it for yourself, I'll put the link down in the description or in the pinned comment. But basically, these Smart Brick sets are going to have 3 elements. That's of course going to be the Smart Brick itself, the Smart Tag, which is pretty much going to connect to the Smart Brick, and then the Smart Minifigures, which are going to interact with the Smart Brick through the Smart Tag. And apparently, there's actually quite a bit of stuff these things can do, from making sounds to the specific minifigures that are near them. Like for instance, I heard that when you put Chewbacca next to the Smart Brick literally plays like Chewbacca's roar. And then I'm sure it does the same thing with other figures, like it'll play famous lines from Princess Leia or Luke Skywalker, etc. But again, if you want to read this article for yourself, I'll put the link down in the description and in the pinned comment. But now actually taking a look at the 3 main sets themselves. First up here, we have 75421 Vader's TIE Advanced with 473 pieces and a retail price of $70 US. And as you can see in this picture right here, it does come with quite a bit of stuff, I guess. I mean, that's kind of a bit of an overstatement, but at least it comes with more than just the actual starfighter. But speaking of the starfighter, it actually doesn't look terrible, or at least it doesn't look terrible compared to what we're about to look at. Compared to the other sets, it actually looks kind of decent. Now, don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near the standard of the previous Darth Vader's TIE Advanced set from 2016. That one is extremely detailed and obviously looks way better than this one does. But since this one technically isn't a traditional playset or play model, I guess I can personally kind of be okay with this because again, it doesn't look terrible, especially compared to the X-Wing that we're about to take a look at. But then on top of that, as you can see in this picture right here, there are 2 side builds, the Rebel side build on the right here, and then the Imperial side build on the left, along with a wireless charger for the Smart Brick right here. And then in this other picture, we're going to see that the Smart Brick is going to go in the back of the Vader's TIE Advanced. And if you look closely there, down in the set already, you're going to see the Smart Pad, which I talked about earlier, that connects to the Smart Brick itself, which, like the article reads, is supposed to basically bring the set to life. It's going to play sounds, it's going to have lights, it's going to do quite a bit of stuff from what I'm understanding, which obviously makes it not a normal LEGO set. I mean, this is actually strictly a LEGO set for kids, unlike the other quote-unquote play sets, like for instance the 2016 Darth Vader's TIE Advanced. That set obviously is a play set, but at the same time it is a highly detailed model that can be used for display, and that's why adults collect it as well. But when you look at these sets, you can tell they are literally just for kids. And I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that for $70, this really doesn't even look that bad, because along with the actual TIE Fighter itself, you're getting quite a bit of other stuff, the wireless charger, then the side build, etc. And then I forgot to mention, you also got the Darth Vader right there, which is supposed to be one of those Smart Brick minifigures, and he interacts with the Smart Brick and the build in some way. So out of the sets that have been revealed, I would say that this is the one that is priced the most fairly. However, unfortunately, that's not going to apply to every set, because up next here we have the X-Wing, and this thing looks freaking hideous. Set number 75423 with 581 pieces and a retail price of $100 US. And like I said, the Vader's TIE Advance is the only half decent looking model out of the sets that have been revealed, because this X-Wing right here looks freaking terrible. This is genuinely one of the ugliest X-Wings LEGO has ever made, and it costs $100. And again, I know this is strictly a playset for kids. Like, this is strictly a kid's toy. It's not like the other playset X-Wings, like the 2018 model, for instance, which are literally like play display models because they're obviously highly detailed. This one right here is pretty much a 4+ set with some technology crammed into it. So I'm just making it clear that I'm aware of that, but like, holy crap, this thing is just so ugly. I mean, as you see in this picture right here, they put the Smart Brick in between the windshield and R2-D2. So the windshield is just kind of crammed up halfway up the nose of the X-Wing like that. And then also just the rest of the X-Wing is shaped very poorly and looks super ugly. And then you have the side builds over here, and they don't look very appealing either. Again, I know this is a normal playset, it's literally a crappy kid's toy, but at least the Vader's TIE Advance looks half decent. This one just looks like slop. I mean, the way the cockpit is designed literally makes this look like a boat. Like, it looks like a freaking jet jet ski or something because the cockpit doesn't completely close all the way. But then on top of that, it's pretty much going to have all the other same stuff the Vader Side Advance had, the smart brick with the wireless charger, the smart minifigures being both Luke and Leia, and then these smart pads are in here somewhere. You can see one right there on this side build, and I assume there's another one inside the actual X-Wing. And well, if you look closely in this picture, you can see there's actually one on the back of R2-D2 right here, so I guess he's a smart minifigure as well. So I guess it's going to be R2-D2 with a flat back. That's going to be kind of weird. On the bright side though, one other thing to mention about this R2-D2 is that it looks like his head can turn, and I assume the way they did this was making the body a new mold with just one stud on top, so the headpiece can actually turn around, which honestly is a really good thing. I'm surprised they haven't done that sooner. And I guess out of all the crappiness about this set, R2-D2's head being able to rotate is kind of a good thing. But again, man, I mean, on paper, it's a new innovation. It's a technological piece that can do a bunch of different things, but I just don't know if these sets are going to do well. I mean, it's clearly strictly a play set for kids. However, it's $100, which is the price of a set that adults would be buying. So I'm just very skeptical of these. I have a strong feeling we're going to see a lot of them in 2026, and then in a few years, LEGO's going to stop making them. The only other type of Star Wars set in my head that I can think of to compare these two are either the Droid Commander set, which I've actually talked about before in other videos, and the Action Battle sets from 2019, if any of you guys remember those ones. Those sets were designed strictly for play and functionality, hence the big targets and the big missiles and everything. However, they didn't last longer than 2019, and I'm pretty sure LEGO only made 3 of those. And I just think that there's a high probability that these smart brick sets here are gonna end up having the same fate. But regardless, moving on to the last smart brick set that we got official images of, that being 75427 Throne Room Duel and A-Wing with 962 pieces and a retail price of $150. And as you can see here, this one, like the others, comes with quite a bit of stuff. Definitely not $150 worth of stuff, but it has quite a lot. And it actually has 2 smart bricks, as you see there, so that's different, I guess. And then also, the A-Wing there doesn't look half bad. Compared to the X-Wing, the shaping on this looks really nice. They got the angles down really nicely, except for that thing right behind the cockpit there. I'm gonna hold back my jokes on that. I assume that's where the smart brick goes, and that little red tumor looking thing right there is how you pull the smart brick out or something. But aside from that, the A-Wing actually looks surprisingly good compared to the X-Wing at least. But then you have the rest of the set, and as you can see, it has these giant arms which move the figures, and I assume that both Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker are smart minifigures, along with Emperor Palpatine probably too. But anyways, because of these big arms, it's obviously very similar to the 2005 Anakin and Obi-Wan duel set, so I guess that's kind of cool, I guess. And then you have the throne room up here in the back, and it looks like it's been downsized even further than from what was downsized in the UCS Death Star. But then in this next picture right here, you can see that the A-Wing is going to be able to interact with the turret, which I think actually might be a cool feature. Like maybe you swing the A-Wing close to the turret and the turret will make like laser sounds or something. I guess that would be kind of nice. But again, I mean, other than that, there's really not much to point out about this one. Really, the only thing significant about the throne room build is that it's kind of adjacent to the 2005 Anakin and Obi-Wan duel, and then the A-Wing looks kind of decent. But other than that, it feels like this set is kind of just like a lot of nothing. I don't know how to describe it. It's just, I'm not very intrigued by this. And also something else that's funny to point out is that in this picture right here, you can see that there's Putty right there holding down the throne room build. And they definitely did that to hold down the build so the kids wouldn't move it out of frame for the picture. So I guess that's kind of funny. But yeah, those are the 3 smart brick sets that we actually have a lot of pictures of that they kind of showed off entirely and posted pictures online. However, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there are some other ones that are surfacing because they are being showed off at the event, except they're not being posted online. And the first one here is a Millennium Falcon, set number 75426 with 885 pieces and a retail price of $100. And I mean, as you can see, it's an extremely blurry photo. You can't really make out a whole lot, but from what I can tell, it looks like it's just barely a bit bigger than the mini scale one that released last year. So I mean, just to take that information as you want. And then next up here, we have an extremely blurry look at Luke's Lane Speeder, set number 75420 with 255 pieces and a retail price of $40. And it's going to include Luke as a smart fig, a Jawa, and a Gontroid. And again, just an extremely blurry picture, so there's really not even much to say about it. Here we have the Mos Eisley Cantina, set number 75425 with 666 pieces and a retail price of $80, including Greedo, 2 Elizabeth, musicians, a sand trooper, Obi-Wan, and potentially more figures, and a buildable dewback. And then lastly here we have the ATST set number 75424 with 347 pieces and a retail price of $50. And this thing is described to have a giant head, and I mean you can kind of see that in the picture here. So I guess they're releasing like a bobblehead ATST. And then as you can barely see down there at the bottom, there is also a speeder bike. And then there is also one more set, that being the Dagobah training. However, this is literally the only picture we have of it so far. Again though, all of these sets are going to be officially revealed this Friday, so that's when we'll have better pictures of them, and I'll make a new video talking about them more in depthly. But so far, this is all we have, and again, I'm extremely skeptical. I don't think this smart brick stuff is going to last for very long. I think it's going to crash and burn in a few years, but let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the screen right now.